Hello friend and welcome to Borgcast the Animated Series 1.15. It's Peter and Amory here. So we cover the last episode of the first season of the animated series, The Eye of the Beholder.
Hello! Happy Christmas. Hope you had a good one. By the time you hear this, Happy New Year.
Yes, I guess so, in a couple of days. So yes, excellent. So yes, we're covering The Eye of the Beholder. It's a phrase which first appeared in the 1876 novel Molly Bawn by Irish writer Margaret Rolfe. Not sure how relevant it is to this episode, as beauty isn't really an issue here, is it?
No, so maybe its sentience is in the eye of the beholder.
Well, that would have made some sense, but anyway. Written by David P. Harmon, who wrote The Deadly Years and Piece of the Action for the original series, so yet another returning writer. Wrote 6 episodes of 1961's The Aquanauts, about a diving duo who search for treasure on sunken wrecks. It ran for 32 episodes then.
32 episodes of just looking for treasure. I was going to say, was that not like 6?
And then it sank without a trace. He also wrote 9 episodes of Gilligan's Island.
Those poor people.
Plus the 1978 TV movie Rescue from Gilligan's Island. I wonder what happens in that. And the 1981 TV movie The Harlem Globetrotters on Gilligan's Island.
Wow.
No, really, I didn't make that up.
The Harlem Globetrotters did all sorts, though, didn't they?
Yeah, they were ubiquitous at one point, weren't they? I mean, we even heard about them over here, and we don't do, basketball really, but yes. He wrote 6 episodes of The Brady Bunch, not to be confused with The Munch Bunch.
The Munch Bunch have run away. The Munch Bunch are here to stay. The Munch Bunch have found a home with a garden.
Yay, choo. I couldn't believe how cheap that looked. I remember it being stop motion animation back in the day. No, it's a bunch of puppets that just wiggle a bit. Anyway, check The Munch Bunch out on YouTube for the wonder that is that. 13 episodes of the Hanna-Barbera cartoon Inch High Private Eye. You can probably guess what that was all about. I think it showed on ITV, so I never got to see it.
I've not heard of it.
Yeah. Guess what it's about?
Is it about a really small private detective?
Very good. It's amazing. The clue was in the title.
Yeah.
Plus, he wrote 4 episodes of Ironside.
Oh, I used to love Ironside.
He wasn't happy with this finished episode, as he felt the animation didn't carry the emotion he was going for. Dude, it's a cheap kids animation show. What did you expect?
Captain's log, stardate 5501.2. We are orbiting the planet Lactra 7. Our mission is to discover the whereabouts or fate of a 6-member science crew. Voice contact having yielded nothing, a landing party beamed aboard to see if the deserted ship's log and computers could give us any information.
You open, as I think you do on all of these, with a captain's log.
Yeah, pretty much. It's definitely a pattern they developed.
They're orbiting Lactra 7, where a crew of 6 from a science vessel have gone missing. And
We don't see the science vessel. I'm very annoyed. Boo.
And they're trying to work out what happened, so they're watching some logs.
From Lieutenant Commander Markell. It was a bit low ranking to be in command of a mission. It's Jimmy Doohan doing an English accent, but it's kind of like a early 20th century posh snob English accent, basically. It's very odd. Been watching too many period dramas, I think. For some reason, this lieutenant has got the science department logo on his Delta insignia, which is weird for a yellow command shirt. But he does say at the end they were on a scientific contact team, so maybe that explains it.
But also, he's a lieutenant commander, which is one below a commander. Maybe he's a small crew of 6. That's the only rank you need for a scientific mission.
Maybe it's possible. It's just unusual, is all I'm saying.
Well, I just think maybe that there was originally a bigger ship to take them there, drop them off.
When we had that Next Generation episode, I think it was Reunification, Part 2, and Data is put in command of a Nebula class, and he's only a lieutenant commander. Yeah, so it happens, I guess.
Yeah. So I mean, it's only a very small crew, and I think they probably just thought that they're not gonna.
Nothing can possibly go wrong.
Yeah, probably. To be honest.
Whoops.
Yeah. So you hear from this log that 3 of the 6 had already beamed down, so they're going to try and beam down to rescue the other 3. And then Kirk says, that's wrong, you should do this by the book, and you're thinking, but when do you ever do that?
Yeah.
And then promptly says, let's us do the same thing, which Bones automatically calls him out on his rank stupidity.
Yes.
And then gets told off. Although I do like that Kirk calls Bones out on his racism towards Spock. Mm-hmm. Says that's not helpful. Like, ooh. Apparently, Arex has identified many creatures on this planet, but nothing yet to indicate civilization or anything. But the scans are not yet complete. They beam down, and had they been just a few hundred yards to the left or something, then they would have been caught up in a geyser in a hot spring and then would have died
alive.
and boiled.
Yes. It's a nicely alien-looking planet.
It is. But I do wonder, why don't they automatically go, oh, clearly that's what happened to the other guys, poor things, and beam up again.
Maybe.
Anyway, then a sort of Cyclops dragon thing appears.
Sea beastie, yes.
And they stun it. Kirk tries contacting the other crew, and they get like a signal response, but no voice. Then another monster goes to attack.
Yeah, Dino Beastie, which doesn't look so good.
Yeah, Spock says it's gathering strength from their phasers, and yet they keep firing at it.
Yes, and it works. So
and
he was
apparently,
wrong
if
there.
you get the underside of the neck, it works. What? Why?
I don't know, but it dies a very overdramatic death.
It does, and then
like, oh
squashing Bones in the process, but without actually hurting him. He's just trapped.
So undignified.
They can't lift the tail, so they have to dig him out. Then they've got to cross the desert. And
McCoy complains about the sand, so obviously some relation of Anakin here.
So I went to a Rugrats place.
Okay.
That's when they do the dance. I got
sand in my pants. I got sand in my pants. I got sand in my pants. I got sand in my pants.
Sorry. Anyway, they're discussing whether or not the beast is familiar. They're questioning, would you really have exactly the same ecosystem here as with the same creatures as we have on, I think they call it Canopus or something. And it's like, and then there's a rainforest. There's 2 so different ecologies. It's so close. It's unusual. Then they ask if there's anything more been discovered, and Arex's scans have discovered a city or gathering place, and they say here to the northeast. Then they find that they look at the water, and Spock says it's too pure, at which point Bones says it tastes fine. And it's like, you were waiting for Spock to test it
before you drank, you idiot.
You twat. It's like one of those dudes in Doctor Who that goes and touches the green goo and wonders why he dies, gets, irradiated or whatever else.
Dies at the end of episode 1,
Yeah. And then Spock says that rather than this being created, this is somehow manufactured. And they talk about terraforming and then say, but normally terraforming has a pattern, and here it seems to be quite random, unless the randomness is the pattern. Mm-hmm. Then purple swoopers appear.
Yeah, as seen in The Infinite Vulcan and another story. It's the 3rd time they've used them now. It's so cheap.
But then this time it says these are like the dragons on Marabar. The stun should work. But then they seem to hit some kind of invisible force field, at which point they're then grabbed by weird-ass slugs. And apparently they're going to the city, which has now moved. Apparently now it's in the northwest, even though Scotty had said it was in the northeast.
Yeah, the Lactrons are a bit magic roundabout for my liking. Very Dougal.
Well, they're like a cross between Dougal and whatever the snail was.
Oh, yeah, who was the snail? Oh, man, he had a moustache, didn't he?
Yeah.
Was that Zebedee?
No, Zebedee said was the spring.
Yeah, Brian was the snail, Zebedee was the guy with the spring and the moustache, yeah.
Good. Well, glad we cleared that up.
Yes.
But yeah, I agree with you. Definitely very Magic Roundabout. Spock keeps receiving these sort of impressions, and they don't really know where they are, but there's another force field. They can't find a way out, and Bones says that he thinks that humanity came across a life form it didn't know, try and remove any harmful bacteria, and then sort of see whether or not it was intelligent. And Spock says, yes, that's a very logical way of thinking about it. This is what's happening here. He thinks that this race is telepathic, and that's why he's getting these impressions. Clearly, this race has set up a space zoo. Where's Moopsy?
Moopsy.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. I mean, basically, this is the cage all over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, you also got Lower Decks. Oh, I Have No Bones.
Yes.
Oh, I can't remember it's an odd title, isn't it? But it's the one with Moopsy, yeah.
So like, I have no bones, so I must flee, or something like that.
Yeah, yes, I must flee. Yes.
Yeah. Their equipment has been removed, possibly to see how it works, and they then meet the science, or some of the science team. Was it one of them didn't make it? I'm trying to think. Some of them didn't make it.
There was 3 that had been down before that they couldn't get hold of, so the
Yeah.
rest beamed down, and one of them's been bit.
Uh-huh.
So we've got Lieutenant Commander Markel, who was on the screen, and a Randy biologist. Well, Lieutenant Randy Bryce, voiced by Majel Barrett.
Yes.
And the poorly crew member is Lieutenant Nancy Randolph. And McCoy goes off to examine her. Markel reports that all they've been able to elicit from the Lactans is a quivering motion, and he too has concluded they are telepathic. Spock fails to contact them, though. But then he's not even bothering with the whole my mind, your mind stuff, and is the other side of a force field. So perhaps it isn't that surprising.
Yeah.
We see the Lactrans quiver, which is a very Mr. Men style bit of animation. You expect Mr. Tickle to have been responsible. And as it happens, they are indeed laughing at Spock. Kirk feels the need for human companionship, so goes off to see the women. Is that what we're calling it now? I fancy a bit of human companionship later, my dear. Lieutenant Randolph is introduced as our navigator, which is interesting because she's in red rather than gold. I guess there's no reason why operation officers wouldn't turn their hand to navigation, especially if they're in the engineering section. And McCoy diagnoses a malaria-type reaction from an insect bite. Kirk asks if the Lactrans feed them or they have to shift for themselves. Never heard that phrase before.
No, maybe it was in use at the time, or
I
it's
don't
an
know.
American.
I did try Googling it and got nowhere, so...
Okay, anyone know?
Yeah. Because they need his medical kit, Spock suggests McCoy thinks about it, but instead they're provided with food. Spock then gets them all to think of the kit, which results in a Latran giving it to them. The Vulcan dramatically reflects that they are caged for life. As the animation pans back and we see an extra dude in an operations uniform who shouldn't be there. I think they've miscoloured Markel. Spock suggests one of them pretend to be ill, and the others think about the need for a communicator to heal them. Kirk, the best actor of the bunch, volunteers. But the young Lactaran who passes the communicator grabs it back at the last moment and is beamed aboard the Enterprise. Although Kirk specifically says, beam us aboard. So why the whole landing party wasn't beamed aboard, I do not know. They've never just beamed up the one person with the communicator, have they?
No.
Spock can suddenly read the Lactran's thoughts, or at least their emotions, and detects they're worried about their child. They get inside Kirk's head and we get our first instance of animated shacting.
The best thing we can do is...
What is it?
They're in my head. What happened to the baby? What happened?
It's not very good.
No. Apparently there's a possibility he may go mad. How would we know? We see him rest on the bridge. Yay! There's not been enough of her. I remembered her being in a lot more. Boo. Maybe she's in the second season.
Maybe
more.
she is, yeah.
Scotty is tentacled out of the turbo lift and orders everyone off as the youngling starts flying the Enterprise. Spock somehow knows that all 5 Latrans are going to mentally assault Kirk next. I don't know how he knows that, but anyway. Apparently the rest of the landing party concentrating on Kirk will form a thought screen. Yeah, that's how that works, I'm sure.
Yes, definitely.
A child beams back with Scotty, having somehow made contact with him off screen. The Latrans now see the Federation personnel's potential to evolve into a higher order. So it's no longer appropriate to keep them as pets. Pity about all the others that are stuck there, isn't it? But never mind. Zoos are wrong. Kirk orders the 2 landing parties beamed aboard. All human. Oh, so he's leaving Spock behind then, is he?
Yeah.
That's nice. And the Lactran's final message is that our heroes will be welcome back in 20 or 30 centuries' time. Wow. So, my dear, cannonballs or Spock's balls?
Rock on, Tommy, you'll do for me.
His brain is gone.
Well, it has to be a form of canon because...
Moopsy.
Yes, and it is a
Cage.
remake of The Cage, effectively.
I've got a question. Is it even more silly than that? And I think it's only really more silly for 3 reasons. One, what the aliens look like, which they couldn't have pulled off in live action.
It's silly.
Is silly.
I mean, Moopsy's relatively silly.
Yeah, but not... Yeah. 2, the fact that Jimmy Doohan forgets how to do Scotty's voice.
Yes. It's all. I don't know if it's because he's also doing the English accent for the other guy, and that's thrown him a bit or something. But yeah, his Scotty voice is really off in this.
Yeah. And 3 is just the telepathy isn't consistent, doesn't make much sense.
I mean, it's not been at all in the animated series, to be fair.
But other than that, so I think it has to be canon. I don't particularly like it.
It's not the best, but it's not terrible per se.
No, and I think what it is that it's not stupid enough to be funny. Like
it's not weird enough to be amusing, is it?
No, not like the one where they can't breathe air anymore and have to be in a fish tank. Or,
Yeah.
I appreciate...
Or operating the controls of bits of rope because they shrunk.
Yeah, and having funny ladders or something. I mean, that sort of thing appeals to me because it's just so silly. This is not silly enough, whilst also not being serious enough. It hasn't got the balance right, but it is canon. I don't think
it's canon. It's the cage. The cage is canon. This is canon because that's all it is, really, just with weirder looking aliens.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, we've heard from Jeffrey Mark Hyman. I got caught up on the animated series recently and have been enjoying the often wild, high concept stories they have been telling. This one was no exception, and the idea of aliens so far advanced beyond us reminded me of Jakar and his aunt.
Yeah.
It was a bit disappointing narratively that the crew really did nothing to get out of their predicament. Yeah, they're recognised, but rescued by the child, aren't they? But I suppose that was more realistic.
Yeah.
And we've heard from the Llama God.
Llama's log, fix it Kirk, fix it neu. Daddy's taking us to the zoo tomorrow. Now, without wanting to sound too much like a broken data cassette, this is another episode where you have to ask, could they have done this in live action and not animation? And the answer is, well, yeah, they had to do it in animation because there is indeed so much reused footage and designs here that, yeah, it'd have been difficult to do in live action. I mean, yeah, sure, they did recycle a lot of the props and costumes if they could, but yeah, this one is much easier to do because you can just recycle the same hand-drawn cells. But they have an excuse, a really cheeky excuse for it this week, which I'm gonna have to allow because the excuse is they're visiting an alien zoo where the aliens have got together all the races and things that we've already seen so far in the series. And yeah, alien zoos full of other creatures, including humans, is indeed a staple of science fiction and Star Trek itself, so gonna actually have to let this one have a pass. Yeah, so they get away with it. And also this is the first zoo that they've done in the cartoon version of the TV series, so yeah, again, sure, why not? Of course, that said, the fact that they're saving on animation costs here does seem especially cheeky considering how ropey some of the animation looks in this episode. There was of course the moment where they prepare to beam down to what they don't know is the zoo, and Kirk advises them all to travel light. It's like, yeah, you're travelling light so you can save on the animators having to actually add more detail to the already existing cells, yeah? Yeah, you just do even more animation reuse? Yeah, okay, that makes it simpler, doesn't it? Oh well, just as well as didn't need any other equipment, isn't it, when they were down there? Never mind. And very noticeable, probably more noticeable on the Netflix version, soon to be gone, probably more noticeable on that than it would have been on TV at the times, but the cell of the Enterprise flying past the planet, that's looking particularly dusty right now, where they've used it so many times. As it was flying across the planet, you could just see specks of dirt gliding along in sync with the Enterprise, so yeah, they need to give those cells a little bit of a dust up before making season 2, I think. We'll see if they actually bother to do that. But aside from that, the story this time is fine. As I say, they've done zoo-based episodes of Star Trek before, so sure, this is pretty much no different, but why not? If it's a formula that works, go for it. And this time around, as is fitting for a children's cartoon, the crew are saved by the fact that the crew of the Enterprise, however unwittingly, managed to convince the child of the species that the Enterprise crew should be released, that they're harmless. So yeah, that kind of works for the cartoon, and it's a slightly different version of what we've seen before, so sure, we'll allow it. Getting accidentally beamed up, I mean, we have seen that in other episodes as well, but it does work here, so I'll give that one a pass. There's also a couple of nice moments in the episode, like where Kirk complains about the fact that the captain of the Ariel went after his crew, leaving the ship behind without his command. He says that's against regulation. That's that's a bit rich coming for you, isn't it, Jimmy boy? How many times have you left the Enterprise to pursue your own little shenanigans when you should have actually sent the second officer or someone else instead, like a fully armed security detail? I don't know, but yeah, sure, against regulations. Someone's eyeing up his admiral's position at the moment. Maybe. Anyway. And there was a rather hilarious moment almost immediately after beaming down where they have to stun a big monster thing and it falls and squishes McCoy, who is fine in the end, but the fact that McCoy is just squashed by a falling monster is just hilarious. And again, would you have done that in live action? No. Would DeForest Kelly have allowed that in live action? Don't know, actually. Maybe he would have done. He seemed up for a laugh and stuff, but yeah, that's something you wouldn't have seen in live action, and just very funny, so yeah. Overall, yes, it's a story trope we've seen before, sure, yes, animation is reused, but as with all these episodes, they're short, they move along at a good, decent enough pace, and it's fun. It's fine. It's fine. The question, though, is it canon or is it bullshit? Of course it's canon. The Enterprise visiting an alien zoo? Yeah, it's just one of many, so sure, it's absolutely canon. Shame this one doesn't have a moot scene either, isn't it? But that aside, yeah, this is fine. So, as ever, I've been interested to find out what else made of this. I hope that you've all managed to avoid being perceived too critically over the festive period, and until next time, a glorious new year to you all, and all of your houses.
Thank you.
There you are.
Yeah, you're right, actually. It hadn't occurred to me that the child effectively saving the day does very much fit in with the children's cartoon.
I guess so, yeah.
That is a very common thing.
It is, yes.
Yeah, you couldn't have done the monster falling on squashing McCoy in live.
Not very well, no.
No, it is silly. I just think for me the whole thing just isn't quite silly enough. Really.
Yeah, not quite, unfortunately. But yes, you're right, that's a very dusty flyby by the Enterprise. Same is true of the DVD as well. They need to remaster the animated series. Oh my. And we hear from Purry.
Hello, Orgs. Parry here to talk about Eye of the Beholder. Now, a bit of an odd name for an episode, but I suppose the gist of it is maybe saying that who's the intelligent animal and who's the zoo thing is in the eye of the beholder. And, basically they get put in a space zoo, for the second half, and possibly that's where the episode does meander a little, but not too much. And actually, conceptually, it's quite good. We do obviously have a bit of padding at the beginning where they have to wander around an alien planet filled with lots of different creatures, including probably the one that falls on McCoy, just looking straight into the camera. It just looks utterly ridiculous. It's quite derpy. It made me laugh. But we have those flying bird lizard things again. I think that's what their third appearance. The stock footage creatures that appear in every planet. They end up being put in a human zoo because they're there to rescue some people who vanished, and turns out they're in a human zoo from a race of kind of very alien-looking aliens. They're hyper-intelligent, but they're kind of vaguely slug-like with a trunk. And I did like the concept that they were just too advanced for humans to communicate with. Even Spock couldn't. And it's again using the animation there. You had all the dinosaurs and stuff that they'd fight, but more importantly, having this completely non-humanoid race who are so far in advance of us that we look like sort of chimps to them, and so they put us in an enclosure and hope that we don't throw our own poop at the window. And and that's more or less, they accidentally then beam up a young one to the Enterprise, which then gets loose, and it's kind of basically a Deus Ex Slug Kid thing. Because yes, it suddenly goes back to explain to its parents, saying, they're bright enough, we probably shouldn't put them in a zoo. It doesn't. I thought it would have something to say about zoos, with the title Eye of the Beholder and that sort of thing. That maybe, the ethics of zoos. But no, it had nothing to say about that. It was just hey, what if they got put in a zoo, guys? Here's what that would look like, and there's a space zoo and super advanced slug aliens, but they are cute, and it's very kids cartoon, which it is. But I thought it was actually quite effective. So yeah, I thought actually when I said it fell apart a bit at the end, I'd argue to say the beginning was maybe the one that was a bit samey, in that we've seen. This sounds daft. We have now seen the crew fight dinosaurs and big monsters and stuff, and that's getting a little overdone. Whereas yes, at least a super intelligent slug-like creature is something I've not seen before. So yeah, that was quite interesting. But yeah, overall, again, I still had fun with this one. So I hope you all had a good Christmas, and I wish you all a happy New Year when it comes, and do keep up the good work. And I also look forward to the podcast. But until the next one, bye for now.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. You're right. There is a lot of padding in the beginning.
Yeah. It's padding with dinosaurs and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't mind the two new designs, but reusing those bats for the third time was just taking the pee. I'm sorry.
They were called. Yeah.
Outrageous.
Yeah. Well, as you put it, it's a non-humanoid race so far in advance of us. That is a novel concept, because so far in Star Trek, as a rule, the epitome of sentience has either been humanoid or non-corporeal.
Yes, it's either a glowy light or it's a human. Yeah. It's got superpowers.
Whereas this is a slug thing.
Yes, it's very convenient, isn't it, that these life forms have no legs and no mouths, which are the hardest things to animate. They literally just produced the cheapest thing to animate. Just make it a slug thing. Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
And yes, I would have liked a critique of zoos as well. That would have been rather good, but I guess possibly over the heads of kiddies who just wanted to see McCoy crushed by a dinosaur.
Yeah, and I don't know that... I mean, bearing in mind this is set in the US, that still keeps highly, highly intelligent creatures in SeaWorld, like orca and dolphins.
Yeah, in two small spaces, yes.
Well, not just, but they shouldn't be... There's no reason to keep them in captivity. They don't need conserving. So it's just for human entertainment. That's the only reason. And that's now. I mean, the idea that zoos would even be critiqued, I think...
Back then, yeah, you're probably right.
I don't think that was going to happen, to be honest. Yes.
We agree, Lila.
Yes.
Well, thank you to everybody who's fed back.
Thank you.
That was season 1. It wasn't quite as weird and wacky as I remembered it being.
No, so I think maybe season
2 could be a bit of a ride. We don't know.
Yeah.
We'll find out after we've covered season 3 of Strange New Worlds.
Or is it season 4? I don't know.
It's season 3.
Is it season 3? Okay,
Yeah, season 4 hasn't been shown yet.
Oh gosh, I'm really confused then, because I've read stuff talking about season 5.
Yeah, well, they filmed season 4 and 5 back to back.
That would be why. That's why I'm confused. Don't do that, peoples. Don't confuse me.
So it's Hegemony Part 2 that we'll be covering on the 15th of January.
Hegemony.
Yeah, Hegemony sounds better. And
Right, okay.
on the 8th of January, we'll be covering the Babylon 5 classic TKO. Can't wait. But until the next time, we're talking telepathically into your ears. Take care. Cheery bye.
Bye. Happy New Year.
Theme for Star Trek The Animated Series was written by Ray Ellis and Norm Prescott.
Any music used in this podcast is for illustrative purposes only, and no copyright infringement is intended.
Find our website at borgcast.libsyn.com.
We have a Facebook group, which you're welcome to join.
Send emails or MP3s to borgcast@gmail.com.
Find us on Blue Sky at broadcastammo.bsky.social.
and revorg.bsky.social.
Shut it down!